have comprehensive coverage of the Pope's arrival right here on KTN News. But we begin with other stories, of course, that are still developing and varied reactions in regards to the cabinet reshuffle. And Kenyans have reacted differently following yesterday's cabinet reshuffle by President Uhuru Kenyatta. Well, that particular cabinet reshuffle saw politicians as well as technocrats take up positions in government. Senator Charles Keter says he is ready for the challenges in the energy ministry following his nomination as a CS by the president. Well, the Kericho senator said he was happy and thanked President Uhuru Kenyatta and Deputy President William Ruto for their confidence in him. Keter takes over from Davis Churchill, who was suspended over corruption allegations and sacked when Uhuru formed a new government on Tuesday. He spoke during an interview at The Hague in the Netherlands, where a delegation is pushing Kenya's agenda regarding crimes against humanity, charges against the DP and his co-accused journalist Joshua Arap Sang.
It is on this basis that I am announcing today the several or far-reaching structural and personnel changes that will go to the heart of government. The changes are proposed to achieve 4 principal objectives. The first objective is to enhance the efficiency of the public service. This will be done through fast-tracking the adoption of technology, improving processes to reduce red tape, providing for better oversight and leadership at each level of government administration. The second objective is to ensure the accountability of public officials in the discharge of their mandate. This will be done by implementing the new public procurement legislation, better delineation of roles and responsibilities as relates to public expenditure, and giving the necessary power and responsibility to accounting officers to make better decisions on budget management. The third objective is to guarantee the accessibility of public officers to those whom they serve. This will be done by reducing the size of their dockets into more manageable units and allowing those in charge to have better visibility of service delivery in their respective portfolios. And more importantly, to have time to engage with their key stakeholders as they execute the delivery of the government agenda. The fourth and last objective is to review the effectiveness of government programs and projects for the public good.
Now, in a few hours, the Pope will be in Kenya in his maiden tour. And of course, there's a lot of excitement on that. Pope Francis flew out of Rome on Wednesday morning from the Leonardo da Fiumicino International Airport, bound for Kenya in what has been described as a landmark and historic visit. Now, the 78-year-old pontiff, the third pope to visit the continent, is expected to land at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport at around 5 p.m. today after an 8-hour-long flight. He will then leave JKIA under tight security, after which he will begin his visit with a welcome ceremony and a courtesy call at State House, Nairobi. Now, Kenyan government officials and diplomats are also set to meet him at State House this evening. Preparations are, of course, still underway at various locations that he will be visiting with security enhanced in the city. There you go. That was him early this morning, leaving the Vatican at the Leonardo da Fiumicino International Airport, of course, coming into Kenya. He's going to be arriving shortly after 5 p.m. That's in about 4 hours. And of course, we expect his visit to be one that is very celebrated here in Kenya and of course across the continent. We now want to link up with our Muremi Mwangi, who is of course taking a look at the happenings at the University of Nairobi, where Pope Francis is scheduled to have a mass tomorrow. Muremi, thank you very much for joining us. Maybe you can just talk to us about the final touches that are happening at the University of Nairobi right now.
Yes, Sophia, we are here at the University of Nairobi Graduation Square, and this is the location where the Pope will be making that Holy Mass to the nation. And of course, anticipation is very high from the few people that are already here. And as you can see, just the final touches here from this venue where that Holy Mass will be taking place. And of course, there's some light security presence here. Of course, the Office of the Inspector General had promised to provide 10,000 police officers during this visit by the Pope. But the few that are here to ensure that everything is in order, even as we wait for the arrival of the Pope later today.
Muremi, maybe you can just talk to us about, what time do we know if the exact time when people will start streaming in at the University of Nairobi tomorrow?
Now, at the moment, the location is open. People are walking in and out of this venue, but of course, with some keen security checks that you have to pass through from the various gates as you get into this venue. And of course, you must have those identification badges for you to walk into this venue, be it the media or the organizers of this event at the moment.
Right, Muremi, maybe finally we're hearing it's sort of like a lot of activity on the background. What exactly is happening on the ground right now? We're seeing a lot of people walking around. Do you know what exactly is happening there, even with the music? Are the choirs practicing? Maybe you can tell us a bit about that.
There's some music here, of course, some rehearsals for some of the people that are already here. The music itself setting the tone for that visit by the Pope. And of course, as you can see behind me, the setting up of the venue, the various seats where the people will be sitting during that address by the Pope. And of course, just next to me here are the few security officers who are here to ensure that everything is in order, just as we wait for that entry of the Pope tomorrow. But of course, not very many people at this venue at this moment. Yeah, but there's high anticipation that as that Holy Mass starts from tomorrow, we're going to have more people from across the country coming to this location. Of course, we're expecting close to 1 million people here. And the few that cannot access this location, they'll be close to where the Pope will be making that address to the congregants here, can still follow up the proceedings of that Holy Mass from the massive big screens here at the various locations within this venue.
Thank you very much, Muremi Mwangi. They're reporting from the University of Nairobi grounds. Of course, rehearsals are ongoing in preparation for tomorrow's Mass that will be conducted by the Pope himself at that ground. Now, as the country looks forward in anticipation to Pope Francis' arrival, many are hoping that the Pope will address various issues that directly affect Kenya and Africa as a whole and inspire a change for the better of all. Now, the Pope is expected to touch down at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport later this evening. Well, here are some of the views of Kenyans ahead of his visit.
Our politicians, I'm not happy of what they talk, abusive language, and they are grown-ups. They are not role models to their children and even to the children of our nation. That doesn't make me happy. So I hope the Pope will address that. At the same time, I think we will copy something from him. You see, he's a polite man. Me, I know him. I have seen him in Vatican. I have gone to Vatican. He's a polite man.
I think it's good that he's travelling around the world a lot more. Some of the other popes seem to have been a bit more Eurocentric sometimes.
It's really nice that he's actually coming to Kenya. Might open up doors for people here. and they'll see actually what Kenya is about, not just terrorism and everything, where we get bans for people coming here. So him coming here might even open up tourism and all.
We believe as he comes to Kenya, he comes to unite all the fraternity of the Christian and other religious people.
There will be all the congregation between Muslim, Christians, Sikhs and Hindus are going to have one prayer to announce and to blast the terrorism which is ongoing and it has destroyed the world. I'm very happy to hear that, and while Pope is here, I hope he is going to pass the same message. No religion is allowing to have this terrorism. Even Islam is not allowing to have terrorism.
Views of Kenyans there. Now, as the Pope arrives in the country, the Catholic Church has been accredited with so much in terms of bettering the lives of Christians, from schools to hospitals and other social amenities. The Church has led in building and even maintaining and staffing. Well, Masikandia takes a look at what the Catholic Church has done in Rift Valley.
Catholic Church in Kenya's Rift Valley, whose focus has been mainly peace building, Bishop Cornelius Korir of the Eldoret Diocese has served as a bishop in the region for 25 years now. It's mandatory as a bishop to be at the airport to welcome the Pope.
So one is a blessing for us, Kenya, and remembering we have hosted 3 times the former Pope John Paul II, now is a saint. So the visit of the Holy Father to our country is not new.
He has been committed to peace-building activities in the region since 1992, from the tribal clashes of the post-election violence to the inter-tribal wars along the borders, majorly related to cattle rustling. The Catholic Church has built schools along the borders of the volatile communities of the North Rift region. Peace, he says, is what the Pope believes in.
Because also the Pope has asked the church leaders, the bishops, to render service for the peace of the people. The Catholic Church has been involved in helping the IDPs, and it's been involved in also shelter, finding the shelter for them, has been involved in food, giving the poor the food. It's a challenging time to host the IDPs. It's not easy.
Bishop Korir says Pope Francis has always had a heart for Kenya, and his aim is to bridge the gap between the poor and the rich, bring a balance in resource access.
I think the whole idea is how do we share natural resources together? So he's trying to ask us as the church leaders how we can be involved more to work with the people.
The North Rift region, especially the border communities in the North Rift, know too well how far they have come, the role the Catholic Church played in fostering dialogue among the warring communities. The Pope's visit, the Bishop says, is an exciting time for the Church in Kenya, his hope being that the region will be the example he wants, a region that sees the neighbor as a brother and not an enemy. Marcy Kandia, KTN News, Eldoret, Uasin Gishu County.
Right, we will be hearing more and learning more about the Catholic Church in the 3 days that the Pope is going to be here in Kenya. Remember, we're counting down to his arrival at about 5 p.m. this evening. Of course, our cameras are at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport to just get the first sight of the Pope once he steps on Kenyan ground. We have a reporter there, Sharon Mumanyi, who's going to be joining us after this break to just give us an update of what's happening at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. But for now, we take a short break. We'll be back. Welcome back to KTN Newsdesk at 17 minutes past 1 o'clock, that is Kenyan time. And of course, we want to have a recap of our top story this afternoon. And of course, it's in regard to Pope Francis' arrival here in Kenya. We are currently counting down hours to his arrival, about 4 hours until he arrives in Kenya. His plane is scheduled to touch down at 5 p.m. Earlier on, we showed you pictures of him leaving the Vatican at the Leonardo di Fiumicino International Airport. What, of course, you're seeing on your screens is the shots from the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport where he will be touching down. As you can see, our team is already on the ground and we will be bringing you the details of what happens once he arrives. We understand from our journalists on the ground that there's tight and heavy security there, just, of course, to make sure that nothing happens. No incidents will be reported once he arrives. We're going to be bringing you live pictures once he steps down on Kenyan soil. Of course, this has been described as a landmark and historic visit. The 78-year-old pontiff, the third actually to visit the continent, is expected to land in Kenya for his visit and the tour, of course, of the African continent. From Kenya, he's going to go to Uganda, after which he is going to move on to the Central African Republic. Now, Kenyan government officials and diplomats are set to meet him this evening at the State House for a welcome ceremony. That's going to be taking place at about 6:30 this evening at the State House, just to welcome him, and of course a courtesy call to President Uhuru Kenyatta once he arrives here in Kenya. We'll be getting you all the pictures and of course the live updates of what's happening there. Our cameras, as you can see, are on the ground ready to inform and update you on the happenings and the events there. Right, those pictures coming up to us from the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport as we await the Pope's arrival this evening at about 5 o'clock. Right, with that dose of football, we wind up part 1 of KTN Newsdesk. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Betty Okari. Keep it KTN News because it's right here where we'll be giving you the latest updates and the events that will be happening around the Pope. Well, see you later and have a lovely afternoon.